Now we're going to talk about comparative advantage. In the last video, we established that Arthur had the absolute advantage. In bike repair, he can produce 12 in an hour, whereas DW produces 2 in an hour. And he also has the absolute advantage in web page production, producing 3, where DW produces 2. But even though Arthur's better at producing both goods, it's not the absolute advantage that determines trade, it's the comparative advantage. So what we've got to figure out is who has the comparative advantage. And the comparative advantage is real simple. The definition, that is. It's the one with the lowest opportunity cost. As you recall, opportunity cost is what you give up to get something else. So, what does Arthur give up? Let's say he's producing all bike repairs. He's right here, producing at 12 bike repairs. So he's producing zero web pages. Let's suppose he increases output from 0 web pages to 3 web pages. What's he going to have to give up to get those 3 web pages? Well, he's going to have to give up 12 bike repairs. So going from 0 to 3 web pages results in going from 12 to 0 bike repairs. So let's write it this way. The change in bike repairs divided by the change in web pages. Now, if we increase our web pages by 3, we're going to decrease our bike repairs by 12, right? So, 3 web pages results in 12 fewer bike repairs. Now let's calculate the opportunity cost for DW. Well, if she's sitting here at 2 bike repairs, producing 0 web pages, if she goes from 0 out to 2 web pages, she's going to have to decrease her bike repairs by 2. So 2 web pages cost her 2 bike repairs. That's your opportunity cost of producing 2 web pages. She's giving up the production of 2 bike repairs. So let's write that the same way. We've got change in bike repair divided by the change in web pages, and that equals, well, if web pages, we increase web pages by 2, we're going to decrease bike repairs by 2. Now here's the thing. It's a lot easier to compare. See, right now, it's not really that, it doesn't really jump out at us who has the comparative advantage. We know that 3 bike repairs cost 3 web pages cost 12 bike repairs. For Arthur, we know that 2 web pages cost 2 bike repairs for DW. But the nice thing about ratios, and the reason I wrote it this way, is that the ratio always ends up with a denominator of 1. That's why I put the good we're trying to find the opportunity cost of in the denominator, because it's going to become a 1. We don't want to know what 3 web pages is going to cost us. We want to know what 1 web page is going to cost us. So let's take this out. What's minus 12 divided by 3? Well, it is going to be -4, right? Now, we don't usually put the 1 down here, but to help us analyze it, I'm going to put it there. There's a 1. So we've got one web page for Arthur costs him 4 bike repairs. We do the same thing for DW. -2 divided by 2 is -1. Put it in a +1 in the denominator, because when you divide anything through, the denominator is going to be a 1. And that helps us analyze it a little bit. So one web page costs DW 1 bike repair. Now it does jump out at us. Who has the comparative advantage in web page production? Well, it looks like it's DW. One web page costs her only 1 bike repair. For Arthur, one web page costs him 4 bike repairs. So DW has the lowest opportunity cost in the production of web pages. Therefore, she has the comparative advantage in web page production. All right. DW has a comparative advantage in web pages. Now let's figure out who has the comparative advantage in bike repair. Well, now, because we want to know what one bike repair will cost us to produce in foregone web pages. So we're going to want to put bike repairs in the denominator this time. So let's do it for Arthur first. So if we've got, if we're producing 3 web pages and 0 bike repair, and we decide to go from 0 up to 12 bike repair, okay, so we're going to increase bike repair by 12. What's that going to cost us? Well, we're going to have to go down from 3 to 0 web pages. So there we are. 12 bike repair cost us 3 web pages. Now again, we don't really want to know what 12 bike repairs cost us. We want to know what 1 cost us. For comparison purposes, that's a lot easier. So we just divide through. What's -3 divided by 12? There we go. -3 divided by 12 is 0.25, -0.25. So 1 bike repair costs Arthur 0.25 web pages. Now let's do the same for DW. Well, we don't really have to do much, do we? If we increase bike repair by 2, web page is going to go down by 2. That equals -2 divided by 2 equals -1. Okay, so we've got one bike repair costs DW one web page. Okay? So who has the comparative advantage in bike repairs? Well, one bike repair costs Arthur only 0.25 web pages, whereas one bike repair costs DW a full web page. So Arthur is the low-cost producer here. He has the lowest opportunity cost, therefore he has the comparative advantage. In bike repairs.